You have to say where it's full.
Live.
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is our work session for the month of February 2026. We go ahead of the nice new roll call. Recognition of guests, I'd like to welcome everybody to tonight's meeting. As I said, this is our work session. Tonight's meeting is to discuss possible action items that will be voted on next Wednesday's meeting. There is time set aside for questions pertaining to the agenda, and at the end of the meeting, there's time for questions not pertaining to the agenda. Recognition of meetings with 6 o'clock was executive session for personnel, and 7 to 7:08 was the regular meeting of the board January 14th. We have presentations of Pride and Promise. And item 3, administrator supervisor.
All right, so nothing new to anybody is snow. The big thing has been trying to keep up with it. With as bad as it was, I think we kept ahead of it. That school's pretty well open, and you know, it was a long weekend, and you know, we got it done. Next thing that's killing us is it's been so cold. Been keeping up with batteries, been keeping up with doors are frozen and rip the door seals off, and you know, trying to glue them back together and stuff. Been getting here early and stuff and getting most things running and stuff, so we've been keeping ahead of that. Other than that, big thing is you know, we need people, we need drivers in seats, and you know, we just, if we can get some more people, we can be a little more comfortable, and you know, it's been me and Dan, you know, the mechanic and the guy answering the phones are gone. When I come back, I'm sure some parents aren't happy that they left a message and you know, didn't get something, but you know, it's just doing what we got to do to get it done. So we'll get some more bodies and we'll be better.
How's our buses running with this weather, with the depth? Put in those.
The depth is the issue. I have one in the garage right now that I'm going to go down after this and try to get it to region because the depth started freezing up in it. The emissions is the killer of everything. I mean, if we can honestly get rid of the DEF injectors and stuff, there would be so many less problems on them. But they're what's draining the battery because DEF freezes. So there is heaters on the tanks that if it gets cold enough, they start running. So we come in the morning, and if they're dead and they need jumped, it's because it was cold and all those extra heaters and stuff were running to keep it going. Well, the plugins, I wish I was an inventor of some sort because we plug the buses in. Plugging the buses in actually runs a heater to keep the block warm. It's keeping the coolant in the block from not freezing, which does help them start, but the DEF system is its whole, this emissions, like there almost needs to be a plug-in for the block heater, a plug-in for a trickle charger, and a plug-in for some kind of heater for the DEF system, but there's not, you know. Perfect world, we'd have, you know, a closed garage heated, you know, but we're dealing with it. I don't know the last time I remember this much snow and this much cold. You know, it's just been, we've kept it going. You know, I don't think we haven't had a day during this that we didn't have the buses on the road. You know, that was, we pulled the plug Monday and Tuesday, but other than that, we had them up running and out there. So I think we're keeping ahead of it, but emissions is not my cup of tea, you know, but we do what we got to do.
Well, just for the record, I thought the school looked pretty good. I was surprised when I went by that day. So between you and Rich or whoever does it, it's a great job.
Thank you.
And any questions for Sean? You know, if you got a bus waiting down there, you're free to leave if you want to go. I don't want you to sit here for a minute.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Not you. You think
Oh, sorry, buddy. You need help. I need help. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna be sitting at a computer trying to get it to reject, so. All right, well, thank you very much. Have a good evening, all.
Mr. Jones.
Finally, we converted one room here, the univent system. Everything is old, as you know, it's got a way back. And we changed the control board and the thermostat to a room system, which was not cheap, but it's gonna be what's coming in the future to us. And I can't believe, we didn't change no other part besides the actual program machine and the thermostat and wall, and it is holding within like 2/10 of 70 degrees all day long. So it's the start of, we're gonna have to come up with a bigger picture to do the whole school sooner or later, because it's gonna have to happen. And this room was actually failing. It would go online, offline, like fan runs, no fan. So it's working good. Besides chasing snow outside, we got a bunch of our just 2 bulb fluorescents changed over to LEDs in here. I had a little bit of problems with the chlorine pump in the high school. It would work fine for 3 weeks. And then all of a sudden I'd get an air bubble and I'd get no chlorine. It was just, I was testing all the time. And we ended up rebuilding it. I haven't had a problem since we did it. He said that's just part of the monster with as much chlorine as we put, that it's going to eat them. So other than that, we've been outside a lot. I don't have, I mean, this wasn't the month besides being outside playing in snowflakes.
Any questions for Mr. Jones? And, you know, I know you guys got to get here early and get things started. So, you know, if you've got things to do, if you want to get home, no, you don't have to sit through the meeting. I'm not going to get involved. Mr. Moylan.
All right, we're gonna do a standard response protocol and a run, hide, fight presentation at the high school, with safety drills at both buildings afterwards on February 13th during service. That's gonna be our main, training we'll do that day. And we've implemented the standard response protocol in years past. I go through it every year, but you know, we're just gonna kind of expand on it, actually drill on it with all the staff. And I want everyone to be in their area, so they're not all just here. So they're going to be, elementary will be down the elementary. And from our last training on his service, when we did a stop the bleed, there's been a lot of positive feedback. A lot of the teachers liked it. Asking questions, you know, how to practically use this at home or anywhere else. So I thought that was real helpful. I really enjoyed doing that. So I think that's something, you know, we'll do in years in the future as well.
Any questions for the chief? Thank you. Mrs.
Staff and students are participating in the Polar Plunge in Pittsburgh for the Special Olympics on February 27th. So this has been an ongoing fundraiser for Special Olympics, and they love going. I believe in previous years, staff have jumped in. It's not something I'm brave enough to do, but I will happily go and support. We have our early intervention meetings this month on February 20th. That is with our early intervention parents and our Midwestern Intermediate Unit for partners. We have 8 students transitioning, which is quite a few. 4 with more significant disabilities, 4 with just speech language impairments. So our process is to meet with those parents, obtain permission to evaluate those students, complete the evaluation. We determine eligibility for early intervention by the end of the school year, and then IEPs are put into place. So when students walk into school day 1, we have everything ready. So we are looking forward to that process. Our Q2 progress reports have been sent out, and that's on all IEP goals. So we take progress every 9 weeks to make sure that students are making progress on their IEP goals, and that's being sent out. And we are currently looking at all of those progress reports and our progress monitoring to determine if anybody qualifies for extended school year. That has to be done by the end of February for those students with the most severe disabilities. And again, if there is any issues with regression or recoupment, so if students over break, summer break, or Christmas break are unable to come back to the same level where they left, then that would be a reason that they would need some services over the summer. So that is a process we're going through in February as well. As of right now, we do not have anybody that qualifies. So all of our students are maintaining with the progress they've made, which is pretty exciting.
So you said they could lose something over the holidays or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask this question. So June comes, they go home for the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Where the hell do they come back at?
Well, so we keep that data over the summer as well. So we have progress monitoring every week, and we not only look at where they left from May until August, and all students regress a little bit, right?
Sure.
Everybody needs reminded of how to do things. It's can they recoup that skill and get back to that same level? So if they left reading 38 words per minute at the second grade level, then we want them to be within 3 weeks back at 38 words per minute at that second grade level. If they're not, then that may be a consideration of why. Typically, Christmas, we don't have kids lose over 2 weeks.
Right.
I primarily look at summer, but we have to keep the data over all long breaks.
I get that. I
Yeah.
just wondered the summer where they ended up.
It's primarily summer where we look at that data.
I only had to repeat half the year. So
I was doing good.
You only had to go for a little bit for summer.
16 years I was done.
Anybody else?
Thank you. Hey, everybody. That first board up there, we ended the semester on January 20th. So we're on the downward count. All those things that happened during the spring at the high school with the prom and senior exit interviews, PSSA and Keystone exams, graduation, that'll start, coming close and then hitting us in the face here real soon, sooner probably rather than later. So just know that the report cards are posted for the parents that are here in Alma. We don't print hard copy report cards anymore, but if somebody needs one, you hear somebody out there that wants one, all they have to do is call in. We can print one for them and get that to them. That's not a problem. Like these guys have said, praise to the parents, students, and staff over the last 2 weeks with the weather. Monitoring the only remote day that we had 94% participate, and that's pretty darn good on a remote day. Just talking to a few teachers, select teachers, first period out of a health class, for instance, talking to Mr. Burks, 18 on his roster, all 18 logged in on that remote day. I mean, not to downplay a health class or anything like that. We're not talking about physics, so to hear those numbers is just another feather in the community's, cap of what we have here at Laurel. Wrestling team and parents have been very busy over the last week or two. So a couple accolades I just want to throw out there. If you're not aware, the wrestling varsity boys team won their second consecutive section title. That qualified them to the WPL tournament, which they won the first and second rounds here. They advanced to the semifinals past Saturday. Wrestled Burl. Burl's been in the WPL championship for 24 straight years. So they're wrestling a pretty stud-packed team and only lost by 3 points. So it was a very good showing by our wrestlers in the WPL playoffs. And then they traveled 4 hours one way yesterday. Thankful to the PA and how they set their playoffs up. To Harrisburg to wrestle a team that only had to travel an hour and came up just a little shy from Mifflinburg in the first round of the state playoffs. But very respectable in what they've done there as a team the past couple weeks. A couple individual things, as you see up there, Casey Wilson was the LC Sportsnet Athlete of the Month for January. That's all sports included. That's just not wrestling in Lawrence County, and they choose that. So that's quite an accomplishment. He had his 100th career win, and that's only in 3 years. He didn't have any wins his freshman year, so that's an important detail. Colton was the air physical therapy Laurel Athlete of the Month for January. He just got his 100th win yesterday. Same thing. That's pretty much in a 2.5-year period for him. And then the whole team was the LC Sports Team of the Month for January. So just want to shout out. They still have their individual sectionals and the WFL and the state individuals coming up here in the next couple weeks. We will know about I didn't include it in my bullet points because it wasn't official until last night and Monday night, but both boys and girls basketball teams have qualified for the playoffs, and we'll get those pairings next Monday, I believe. They'll probably play in the first round end of next week. That's all I have.
Mr. Wood. Thank you. Mrs. Columbus.
So it's the 100th day of school. So we survived 100 days, especially with the weather. My attendance updates, we were in flu season. And so flu was hitting us hard, along with the weather and stuff, but we still maintained pretty well with our attendance updates. Our averages, high school was around 92, elementary was around 94. I would like to reiterate what Mr. Lake said about the virtual learning day at 94%. We had the actual same percentage of the elementary. It was amazing how they both went together. The 2-hour delay, I also looked at that and I thought it was pretty interesting. Sometimes you will see on a 2-hour delay, people will just stay home. That's not the case. We only had 14 students in the elementary and 10 out in the high school in a 2-hour delay. So even taking a delay, the students still got here and we still had obstruction happening. We're at that time of the year where we allot 10 parental excuses in a school year. That is by PA school code and our Laurel board policy. When people start missing and parents are writing excuses instead of getting medical, they start running out of those. And then you hit flu season. So for truancy letters, if I have 3 unexcused absences, I have to send a truancy letter by law. If there's 6, I have to send a truancy letter by law. I just sent out in the last week about 48 truancy letters. Those are mainly because they're unexcused, where I just didn't get excuses for them. Sometimes they don't come to the office. Sometimes they're in backpacks and things like that. So hopefully when parents get those, they can get the excuses in. But I always remind parents, like, it's very important to only use those parental excuses when you have to. Just when you run out, you run out. The Laurel Winter newsletter went out in the paper January 24th, the day before the big snow. Just so that you're aware, that's one of the things I oversee. We send it out 3 times a year, one in the fall, one in the winter, and then the spring is always the Saturday after graduation. So we had a lot of submissions of articles. Usually we ask any of the clubs, organizations, we administrators write letters or articles, and just want the community and everyone to see the great things that we do. So this time we had to go to 3 pages. On the link that you have on the slides are the links to the pages. If you wanted a PDF of them, you can have it. I mentioned before our Laurel Athletic Hall of Fame. If you were at the basketball games recently and you walked into the lobby area, you will see a big, huge 88-inch TV. We took all of our Hall of Fame inductees. There's 51 of them. It started back in 2003, and they're all on slides. There's some information on a few that I still need. You'll see a little under construction, a couple more pictures that I need. But I thank you to the business office for ordering and getting the TV. I need to thank Mr. Jones for getting it up and running, all the wiring. Dr. Lee for getting that all hooked up. I have to give a shout out to Linda Barletto and the guidance. She is our historian of Laurel. She was my go-to person, and I feel like I really have a grasp on the Laurel history. It's amazing what I've learned. This will make it easier to make updates, and when new people are inducted, it's just rolling. I actually had a typo today that was pointed out, so it was easy within 2 minutes, I had it fixed and updated and it was on there. So if you know anybody that's up there and, if they want a different picture or, you know, if there's some other stats that need to be up there, they just need to get a hold of me and I can easily add that. So also, if you look in the lobby coming into the district office, there's a smaller TV. The next project is to work on our Laurel Pride and Promise. It's getting that on a rolling slideshow too. As you can see, they're all in the hallway, but most people don't get to see that. So when they come in the district office, we'll have that up and we'll have it rolling there too. Sorry, I guess I didn't realize how much I had today. Professional development, I did some professional development with something called Math Talk. It was more of a focus on problem solving and critical thinking that I pushed out to some teachers. They had a school-wide positive behavior coaches day. Both of those I did virtually, so I was able to still be in the district and be part of that. STILS we talked about STILS a lot. There is a teacher PLC, and a PLC is a professional learning community that the state holds multiple times during the school year. So I've been attending those. They're virtual. What's nice is teachers get on all across the state, and then we do different breakout rooms, and they talk about what they're doing in their classrooms and how to cover things, and it's a great networking. So there was one on January 22nd. I was part of that, and I'm working on getting those recorded so I can push those out to the teachers. There's another one in March and one in May. There's also administrative PLC sessions too. So it's nice that you can get on and talk to other administrators, and that the next one for that is February 19th. So I did not realize when I signed up for ACAPA, the Law Symposium, that I will be traveling during the Super Bowl. So I'll be listening to that on the radio to Harrisburg. But I will be going Sunday night, and it's a 2-day session. That's where I can get all of the updates for all of the PA code, especially the changes in attendance that are happening. At the elementary and middle school, we're going to do like a PSSA Olympics push. We usually do like an assembly at the elementary. We usually have like a little bit of an Olympics day right before the PSSAs. We're doing more incentives for instruction for the students, something for them to work towards. So since the Olympics start next week, actually Friday is opening ceremony, the grade levels at the elementary are going to work towards earning ribbons and things. And then when we have our assembly, we'll do some little awards for that. The last one is a little tiny picture. I know it's small, but on your side you might see it. And I have a little touch of Laurel in Italy. I talked to Mr. Rich and got permission, and thanks to Chief Hoyland, he gave me one of those Laurel Police badges. I had a friend that went to Rome recently, and there is Botticelli's is a place in Rome. It's a Pittsburgh based place, and they like to put a big display up of all of the police badges. So our Laurel School Police badge is now displayed in Rome.
When in Rome.
Any questions for?
So, talking about, I understand 10 days is quite a few, and they run out of excuses. The district band needs to the working poor. You want them to get a doctor's excuse, which costs money.
No, they're just not submitting anything, right?
Correct.
I will say,
What
Jeff,
you can do on the app.
last week I called my daughter's, or a couple weeks ago, she had the stomach flu. I'm like, I called them. I said, I'm not bringing her in. She has the stomach flu, but I need an excuse. And they sent me. I think if it's recurrent where you're calling every week, they're going to be like, oh, we know this family. They're not, because they're, they're just trying to get excuses so their kid can stay home.
I just think it's an issue with those. I get it 10 days.
So,
There's other circumstances.
Mr. Sorley and I worked out one time with a family that the student was missing a lot of school. So what we asked them to do is to bring the student in to be assessed by our nurse. And if she thought that they were too ill to stay at school that day, then she would let them take them home. That way they were being seen. it was one of those issues where they were just a huge truancy, constantly missing.
I get it, but poor families have to work, take a day off, something they need, and to sleep. I know that happens.
Have you missed 10 days of work in a year?
Hell no. I had to eat on Fridays.
Just settlement services.
Some of them have a problem, like I have kids, they're missing 25 days. They're not sick, they're staying home.
Well, it's the
Nobody's getting
parents,
them up,
yeah.
and it is the parents.
Oh,
It's not the parents, it's not their fault that mom didn't wake them up and get them on the bus. That's not their fault.
I get it.
It's to hold them accountable too, to make the mom, you
There's a
know.
whole way of things that go
Yeah.
on.
I do have another thing about the attendance. So I know I figured this out and it's taken me a while, to upload a doctor's excuse on that parent square.
Oh, I didn't.
Well, the only way I figured it out was I sent it to Ms. Weisenstein in the office, well, she must not have the capability. I don't know. I called the office, I'm like, did you get it? They're like, no. So you have to send it apparently to Ms. Bessel.
Yeah.
So like when I go to message my child's teachers, that name is not there. So I have to know to search it. I mean, this is just, I didn't know the lady's name that worked in the office to even send it to her. So I don't know if that Dr. Lee can be added as just for everybody, that Ms. Bessel's name pops up on that messenger, or if we
She
could
would be for the high
communicate.
school.
Okay,
And
so the
Mrs.
families
Schaefer
that
would be
like,
at the
if you have a doctor's excuse, you can message it to her as an attachment.
I'd have to
Yeah.
look, she should be in there, she should be.
So when-
She's accessible if I search for it, but
Yeah.
like if a list populates of just your child's teachers automatically. But like to search for her, I was able to search for her.
So that's set up through, the SIS system. So it's,
Okay.
it's set up through who they're assigned to in classes.
Okay.
But, I do have parents that will email it to me. That's fine too.
Yeah.
If they email it to me or to either office, we get it and we share it. They don't have that capability when you go to put in that parent excuse to do that.
Right.
I have had parents say in that parent excuse, I'm emailing you a doctor's excuse, or they're bringing in a doctor's excuse, that way we know to look for it.
Could be something we could add there, Laurel, to, the handbook, the directions on how to get to Mrs.
Yeah.
Bessel, and who's the person.
And the elementary school does.
Parent square posts for each building. Make sure that, doctor's excuses and any other scanned excuses or whatnot are going to a central repository.
I mean, I think my son is responsible, and at the end of the year, he was cleaning out his backpack and I found four doctors. I was furious.
You're not the only one.
Yeah,
I
no,
was furious.
and it doesn't matter. It's K through 12. Like, it
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
matter.
what I need. So at this point, I take it in my own hands.
I- That's what a lot of people will do. They'll take a picture and then and send it. That's,
Yeah.
I'll send out directions to everybody.
I just, maybe that'll help on your end. I don't look less, probably not. People that aren't gonna come to work.
Funny you said that. We have a Senator Laurel on JDS. I was talking to a parent, you know, single, one kid at home, two parents, right, responsible family, kid gets good grades, gets a truancy letter. Dad says, what's this? You know, I wrote you the excuses. Where are they? Well, the next day he goes to the locker and literally 7 to 10 excuses are laying. They're not, they don't turn them in.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Nope.
If that's our worst problem, though, I'll take that one.
Any other questions for Mrs. Cox? Thank you. Mr. Swordley.
So, as Mr. Light said, we just wrapped up quarter two, so we sent out our quarter two report cards. We had our grade level data meetings. Did focus on the data, but also focused on, as we talked about already, online test prep at the SSA. So that's something that's still in the forefront there. We just did our Title II benchmark testing, just finished that up yesterday. They'll be requalifying kids and possibly kids from that program. As everybody said already, the extreme weather conditions, just a thank you to all the staff, parents, students. You know, those days are tough when we're delayed or late. Everybody seems to always do what they need to do, so they stay successful. We had students participate in elementary all-star band. Even throughout the weather, they still made it over to Shannon and were able to practice and have their all-star band night. And then the teachers are currently doing their online PSSA training, and we're just continuing to work with the kids here to get closer to that day. It's coming. And then today we had kids go to participate in academic games equations. We had 7 more kids go undefeated, so a couple more kids who have qualified for nationals. It's probably the biggest group that we've had, and we still have some more competition. So that's something to. I'm glad that program is back up and really starting to be successful.
Questions for Mr. Scoop? Thank you. Dr. Lee.
Doing still a lot of budget planning and prep for a meeting next week, and then just sitting through a lot of different platforms, comparing, looking at usages versus what we are currently spending and so forth, and just trying to evaluate to bring some potential solutions. Continue to work on our E-rate submission that's coming up. It's for those of you who are not familiar with E-rate, it's a subsidy where we can, we get I think 60% discount on our commodity internet and/or certain appliances, so forth. And you'll see one of the appliances I will present to you guys next week is an E-rate product. This EIOS or iOS line item is it's a suite of AI tools I've been working on to push out to our staff, and I've had some that have been tested and piloted and so forth. But I have everything from a question analyzer where you could take and put a question in, put it by there, and see what type of web's depth of knowledge with rigor and it questions it, and or it'll show you how to revise it if it's not rigorous enough. So that's just one example, or like standards, or I have this one where you could just copy and paste the entire curriculum in it, hit a button, and it will show real quick if it's aligned or if almost like a heat map. So just some really cool things that Mr. Rich and some of the admin have been aware of it, but I really haven't spoke to that to you guys about it. So Mrs. Columbus spoke about the Hall of Fame and the Pride Promise display, so I'll just go right by that. Continue to have the Spark meetings. I had one today. I had people show up at the elementary, so that's a good thing. But in talking to them, I think, and I mentioned this before, I think I'm going to reboot it and do more one-on-one coaching sessions. So I think that's where the need is. And when we have questions, we'd have had some meeting, I think it could be more effective. And I was telling Mrs. Hammond, I just feel an immense responsibility to ensure that our staff get what they need in regards to the AI. So that's kind of where it's been and where we're at with that. So lastly, help ticket, 123 tickets. First response was 3 hours and 12 minutes, and we resolved 2 hours or 2 days and 29 hours. So.
Any questions for Lee? Thank you.
So if you take the meeting to work on budget, I was hoping to get it out on Friday, but I haven't yet, to send out my Google form to everybody. I'm still not real comfortable in Google, so I'm learning all the little tweaks to make it hopefully easier to use. So that should go out by the end of the week. Got it filed by the end of the week. Back to me through March, and then we'll turn that into our preliminary budget. First read. In January, we received all of our last bit of real estate tax revenue from our tax collectors who all retired. We do, as you know, last month we appointed 3 new ones. Our collection average over the last 4 years has been 96%, so that's pretty darn good. It could be less to be able to budget with a solid number like that. Been dealing, helping Mrs. Bonyak with trying to figure out a personality issue with the cafeteria in the elementary, but we're getting there. And just looking forward to the summer and spring and summer time and make some plans with some of our staffing changes that might be coming up. And I don't mean anything by that, but I'm not going to share some of our more personal developments. All good, all things good. So it's a new day, that's for sure.
Any questions from this? Mr. Rich? Nothing at this time. Just to backtrack a little bit to the principals, I did look over the yearbooks we got last month, and there was good improvement over what we had the year before. I do question whether we need 4 pages of Tim Redfoot handed to the so that's a little much. super nauseous by the end of it. So just something I might want to mention to you.
You the man.
Yeah, well, that's, I'm not that for the agenda. So, any questions from the floor relative to the agenda? We will, next Wednesday, we'll have the approval of the minutes. Item 7 will be the approval of the treasurer's report and investment report. Item 8 will be the approval of bill listings, or a list of the food service bills. Item 9, personnel retirements resignations. Resignation of Scott Saunders, assistant football and assistant boys track coach, effective December 31st, 2025.
Was that a surprise or any? Is that? I mean, they made it part of the bank, but I think it's just time. Okay.
Item B, assistant boys track and field coach. Ms. Katie Sherry is assistant boys track and field coach from 25-26 school year, rate of 2,450. Step 1 on the collective bargaining agreement on receipt of required clearances and documentation. Any questions on that? Item C, approve the following students as stream team member for the 25-26 school year at the rate of $10 an hour. Alexander. Item D, approve and recognize the following professional development workshop seminars. Mr. Matt Pertal to the College Success Forum at Robert Morris University. Across the district is for mileage, and Mrs. Amanda Long and Jessica Miles Innovative School Summit Conference in Orlando, Florida, March 12th to 15th, approximately $3,434, which will be paid with special ed grants, no cost to the district. Any questions on item D? Item E, additions to the volunteer and non-instructional substitute listing for the 25-26 school year. Committee of the whole, item 10, item A, policies adoption, second reading. I'll let you look at this, all of them. Is there anything? No. Well, you have all this for the daughter, so. Item B, policy 626 attached, approved for procurement for the following federal fiscal compliance policy. Any questions on item B?
That's just the update to the bid and proposal amounts that comes out every year. That's update.
Okay. Item C, request for bids. Approve the advertisement solicitation for bids for classroom supplies, school vans, paving, sealing, and other bid items for the 26-27 school year. Any questions on item C? Item D, 26-27 calendar. Item E, 26-29 K through 12 guidance plan.
Yeah, it's a 3-year plan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's just like the comprehensive plan every so often we update it.
Any questions on item B? Item F. Approve the renewal of attached agreement between the Newcastle School of Trades and the Laurel School District for the 25-26 school year for welding courses. Any questions on item EF? What is that word again?
Articulation.
Oh,
So they give college credit for our course.
Item G, articulation agreement with Delaware Valley University. Any questions on item G?
The order to be approved career technical education program you have to have an articulation agreement affiliated with your program. So those are requirements of our approval for our vacation agriculture.
Any questions on item H, FBLA State Leadership Conference? Approve Mr. Matt Pertow, Mr. Jake Holzhauser, and 10 students to attend the FBLA State Leadership Conference, April 13th through 15th. And Hershey cost the district will be registration, lodging, and meals amount not to exceed $7,794. Transportation will be by school van. Any questions? Item I, approve the hosting of the 27-28 p.m. EA Elementary Course Fest at the elementary and middle high school. The Course Fest includes 56th grade students from Beaver, Butler, Lawrence, and Mercer counties. Any questions on item I? Item J, field trips, student activity groups. Miss Emily Bucha, Miss Taylor Marsh, and approximately 19 students to meet Northminster Church, February 12th for forensics with Custom District for transportation substitute for Miss Bucha and Mrs. March, Miss Marsh. Item 2, Miss Taylor March and approximately 10 CHS argument and debate students for the University of Pittsburgh on March 11th for a PIT class at Custom District for transportation and substitute for Miss Marsh. And item 3, Miss Marsh and approximately 10 CH argument and debate students to the University of Pittsburgh, April 7th, 2026, for the annual argument and debate competition at Custom District for transportation and substitute. Any questions? Item 4, Mr. Jason Burks of Conservation Club students to start Slip Rock Creek March 8th and April 29th, Custom District for transportation and substitutes for Mr. Burks. Ms. Clearman, Scott Boyer, and approximately 20 senior band and course members to Hershey Park and the Flight 93 Memorial May 9th at the Custom District for transportation.
So this is just for seniors, down the ones that are missing out on the trip. Right, because they're going on the fall.
They typically take a senior trip
Right.
anyway, so this is their
This is
senior
their
trip.
Right. So just the seniors are going.
Correct.
Any questions, comments from the floor relative to non-agenda items?
Unless, Mr. Chief, do you have anything? One, no, it's not happening this year, maybe not next year, but I'm probably never going to give up on getting a computer business teacher back, just seeing the FBLA brought that back. So, at some point, if we ever get this budget under control and get that note paid off, that's definitely something that I think is a missing weapon in our arsenal, I think. And secondly, I'm trying to find the calendar on the board docs. Is it my Drive app, the Docs app? Or am I missing? That'd be awesome. How did you get to? I was just trying to get to
It was on board docs. It wasn't in the email, but it involved in the actual board docs.
You logged in.
Mr. Lee, could you email me a copy of this, please?
Yeah, I got you.
Thank you.
Send it to myself also.
Just send it to the board. You could take the one that's on PDF.
I don't know. You can do that. It's fine.
Thank you very much.
Someone
No, I'm-
Someone glance at it before you send it out, just to be sure that. the correct one.
I see that real quick. Want to make sure.
Make sure it's needed.
Yeah, that's the right one.
What happens with this? Happens with
No,
that?
you're smarter than me. I'm over here pounding keys like, where's that?
That's the right one.
It's attached to the correct one.
Whatever Laurel's showing us is
I
correct.
found it on the book
Yes.
docs for tonight.
I'll send it. Yeah, I got it.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any new business? Before I adjourn, we will have a short personnel meeting after the, after this meeting. We'll take a 5-minute break. With that, I will adjourn the meeting. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Right.